before the game started. When I go on the chair, I heard only like SKT, like SKT, SKT, like this whole stage. Suddenly, people is slowly screaming Misfits after we are winning. Yeah, so, and then after game 3, people was crazy.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, in the movie, like it completely shifted all the way around. Like people wanted us to win like so badly, and they wanted us to like prove that we can beat them. And I think they were really happy because they did not expect that anyone can beat them.
It's 2017, and China is playing host to the 7th League of Legends World Championship. South Korea's Titan, SK Telecom T1, entered this tournament with their eyes on an unprecedented three-peat of the world's title. Heading into the world's quarterfinals, SKT's matchup against European underdogs Misfits was predicted to be an afterthought in SKT's campaign to claim yet another trophy. The legacy of Misfits versus SKT can still be felt today in Europe, South Korea, and also North America, where 4 of the players are set to face off in the opening weekend of the LCS Summer 2021. It's a memory they won't soon forget. I'm Julian Carr. Let's load the replay file.
Hello, everybody! Welcome back. It's your boys. I'm Captain Flowers. This is Raz, and we are back in the studio and back and ready for the cast between this showdown with 100 Thieves and Immortals. Now, Raz, we got to talk about 100 Thieves' new man in the mid lane first and foremost.
Yeah, Abadage being brought in is, for a closer, a blast from the past. Because if you look way, way back in the TCL, they were paired up together with Freeze, who is, currently their coach behind the scenes. And they were a dynamic duo. They booked it straight into the finals. The regular season, they were first place. Of course, didn't have the fondest of memories when it went up against the, in the finals versus Supermassive. But it was about that mid lane jungle synergy that is relevant because they've had that prior workout. And then while Closer moved on towards North America, you saw, person in front of you, Abadage, have a fantastic time in career in Schalke in the LEC.
Yeah.
People told him, Faker Dage for a reason. Some of his games, especially during the ramp up to playoffs, were just that damn good. Worked with Gilius incredibly well. And the reason why people were singing the name of Gilius and Abadage was because of that two-man synergy that they had. And we're hoping to see that work alongside Closer.
Yeah, when you're looking at 100 Thieves and you're thinking about what this team looked like in spring and sort of where everybody pinpointed the weakness to be, there was juggling players back and forth in the mid lane. There wasn't a lot of consistency there. And now we're looking at Abadage and Closer together to be able to make that happen in that critical 2v2 situation.
It kind of feels like Cinderella finding that flipper. 4 splits, 3 different mid laners for Closer, spanning between those two teams. And I think this is it. I really do. I think Abadage is incredibly skilled individually. And what they were searching for in the previous split was a great control mage player. Abadage is that type of person. If you're in an Azir Corki meta,
no, not that kind of meta.
He could perform there. His rise is sensational too, so I'm really looking out for where he placed amongst the echelon of the mid laners in the summer split.
Okay.
I know people are interested in talking about perks and all that, and Power of Evil. Well, you now have another European mid coming in that's performing on a high. I like what I see.
Okay, now across the table, let's talk a little bit about Immortals, because I know that when you're looking at this team, you're looking at the jungle, right?
I'm looking for an identity for this team.
Okay.
And for me, Xerxes, once again, coming from the LEC with Splice, did not have a good showing in this split coming with the team. And a lot of it is because the first 10 minutes for this team is very scattered. It always feels like past 10 minutes into the game that something has happened. Either a tragic jungle invade, if we all remember casting back against them versus Cloud9. A top lane scrap not working out well. Everything can be a little bit up in the air. But we've seen moments from this team, and so I look to Cersei because he's had the experience. And for a lot of teams that kind of lack the identity and lack consistency in the first 10 minutes, it's the jungle. Playing through your jungler, knowing that if you're, bot side, your jungler's pathing towards revenge, that you're just holding back. You don't need to take added risks. Or if your jungler is on in an aggressive matchup, invade with them, giving a slow advantage. It is a consistent way to play a game that I hope for when I see Immortals.
And, going into this, I was going to make a point about how 100 Thieves and Immortals should both be approaching this first game of Summer as being within striking distance of one another. This should be a winnable game for either squad. And then the last game, we see Golden Guardians take out Cloud9. So now I'm just left having to say that everything is within striking distance for anyone based off the evidence that we've already seen here today. So that means it's all on the table. It's all for the taking. Yes, the records are going to carry over from spring, but summer is a new chance to come back revitalized, ready to compete, ready to go, and set yourselves moving forward, looking to compete in those summer playoffs here just 9 weeks from now.
Especially, I know when we walked into MSI, teams are scrambling to figure out what's the meta, right?
Yeah.
Same thing's happening in this split. With the idea of what junglers are relevant. What junglers are the best in the patch, knowing catch-up experience is a thing, and that also, camps being moved back 15 seconds, then it really goes to show that every team going back into the locker room and figuring out what works for us, what works in the meta, and to your point, especially when, bringing in new players for 100 Thieves, and then you're locking in the same roster if you're IMT, you're right. This is the game that is the most winnable game for you.
Right. Quick update for everybody at home. We do have a slight delay on stage because of a mouse issue. Hopefully that will be resolved very quickly and we can jump into the game. But yeah, back to the point that you're talking about having to figure out this meta and discover everything. This is always one of the trickiest parts coming back from MSI because international events have to all be played on the same patch and they last for quite a while.
Yep.
You're used to, in these events, the game that everybody's playing is lagging pretty far behind in terms of the solo queue experience, in terms of the overall general player experience that people are having. And then you just take this big time skip forwards, and all of a sudden you're here.
Yeah.
And you're ready to go, and you got to be playing on this new patch. It doesn't happen the same way after Worlds is done, because after Worlds is done, we head into the off-season. Everybody's just chilling for a while. You've got All-Stars, but that's not the serious competitive event that everything else is, right?
Yeah, and no one wants to be the first region that tests out the patch. You want to have a look at, let's say, if LPL is starting or LCK is starting, what are they playing?
Yeah.
To just kind of confirm with if your scrims line up the same way, if they have a better idea than you do. But if you're starting out immediately, well, then it comes down to that confirmation bias. If you're winning your scrims, then, oh, snap, like, maybe we haven't been tested properly. Maybe the game's...
You're the guinea pig now.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting. I think Ezreal is a key champion because we've already seen a lot of it. Divine Sunder is a really good item, of course.
Yeah.
And so now you have to kind of play around in Ezreal. How much damage he's later on in the game, of course, doesn't scale as necessarily as good versus, like, the Kaisas of the world, depending on the composition, of course.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of building between a lot of these teams. I've heard good things, personally about how 100 Thieves scrims are going. So that just gives you confidence if your player is looking at closer. While if I look at Raze, this is a topic that a lot of times, not a lot of people watch Oceanic play. But I was really high on Raze coming into the spring split.
Okay.
Because I've seen him perform. I thought he was, at times, the best AD carry in Oceania, and that he had really high, mechanics on his types, like the Xayah, the Ezreal, the Kaisas. Like, I thought he was definitely going to be someone that we, kind of undervalued, undersold. But he came in, much like everyone else on the team, didn't have strong performances. So that's why I think, a challenge to him individually, him and Destiny, having better lanes, but also going back to the earlier point, just having a cleaner 10 minutes playing around your jungler. So I'm interested in seeing what the champions they end up locking in.
Yeah.
And what if these performers can actually come out and have that strong game.
And on the topic of the champions that we're locking in, because you touched briefly when you were talking about looking at the performance of some of these players that have played in other regions like the TCL back in the past, and you mentioned some of the coaching staff now also being former players and things like that. Let's talk a little bit more about coaching staff, man, because we got Reaper back in the building now with 100 Thieves. This is one of the coaches that a lot of people for a long time, when you're thinking about the end of split, like best of voting that happened, Reaper was always one of the people that was coming up there and coach of the split for his work at Cloud9 for all the stuff that he did over there. And now he's here under a different banner with 100 Thieves, along with having this new mid laner now just not having to juggle those back and forth, I'm excited to see what his role in this whole team is and sort of what he shapes these guys into.
Absolutely. Reaper is the type that has a very firm idea of how he wants the game to be played. And so, like, that's great. If you have a coach that's opinion and heavy-handed, I think that's wonderful for a team to just immediately have a core team identity, or at least to challenge it. Because I remember last split for 100 Thieves, it was all in on bot lane. Sending closer down there, if they get a great trade, trying to force a dive, that's always been what the team's identity has been about, especially when they had Damonte. So I think it's a good idea to challenge what this team is good at. Now you have in Abadage. You know, he has a very clear identity in being able to be a control mage player. I think that now shifts. FBI and Huhi are going to have a good lane.
Yeah.
Like, they're just that good that you don't need the resources being thrown towards the bottom side of the map. So I think if you just have two winning sides, you're looking at Closer and Abadage, then, you know, someday can sit happily on an island.
Yep.
See you guys in the team fight.
It'll be 20 minutes from now. We'll be having a great time together. But for now, he just gets to farm it out up there.
Hell
but
yeah.
I do like the fact that now it feels like both those side lanes could be a potential win condition. We've seen someday hard carry games in the past. We know that FBI and Huhi can do that kind of work that you're talking about. It's a good lane, and you can pretty much count on it. So how these guys play it, exactly what they want to prioritize in this draft, especially in the environment that you already mentioned, with everything being so new, with people still trying to figure out this meta.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We've got to see some Divine Sunder or Ezreal. We saw a game that still has Udyr in it. Apparently, we can't hit him in the kneecaps enough with the Nerf bat to actually get rid of the run stun job done.
Too good.
What is going to happen as this develops over the course of this week and next week? Because remember, we're now playing a triple round robin in summer. So every team is going to play every other team 3 separate times. We're going to have a bunch of games being played for these teams to see the difference between what works in the scrims and what works on stage.
Yeah, and I think a good example of that is probably Viego, that has been going in the 4-5s and drafts recently.
Yeah.
Where he is incredibly flexible. I think he's a strong 3-way flex, jungle, top, mid. He's also just such a solid, immovable piece on side lanes as the game goes on.
Yep.
And as we've seen in certain games, he snowballs incredibly well. Especially in that Power of Evil game. If you just have that one execution, you can play around it, then you are just untargetable.
It's ridiculous.
And unpredictable, exactly. So I think Viego is probably going to raise in priority as we see more games come in. So that's an example where, maybe a first pick. Same goes towards Varus. I think Varus he's been getting banned a few times, but also just a solid first pick to allow your bot lane to just be that strong immediately.
And we're also seeing a bit more, at least what I'm seeing as defensive itemization from Viego here. Like when you see a Viego in your solo queue game, a lot of times the builds you're seeing are things like a Kraken Slayer with a Bork and just this, hey, I'm going to build pure on-hit damage, and if I start to pop off, I win the game. Give me my LP so I can get into the next one. But considering these games are generally more reserved, you don't get the chance to just pop off and kill everybody nonstop. We're seeing Immortal shield bows, right? We're seeing defensive items with Randuins and Spirit Visitors and stuff like that. So the ability to adapt these strategies that work into solo queue and remove the parts that are a little bit too YOLO and replace them with something a bit more conservative makes it so these kinds of picks can work. Also, I believe Gwen is on the table, but has been banned quite a lot.
Consistently,
so I do want to see if that gets through. Have players been putting in the practice on that champion, because she can wreak a whole lot of havoc of her own.
Yeah, I remember when she first came out, a lot of top laners were playing her. Revenge is a great example of that. They just thought the champion was fun. And even though the solo queue win rates were incredibly low, she got buffed. Also, players just understood her a lot better as a champion. And so now you can't touch it. It's consistently banned. I do want to see one game of it. I think a lot of people would love seeing how strong and how she is in a 1v2 or 1v3 situation when she has her items.
Oh, yeah. Her damage is just through the roof. I mean, when you look at her, so many champions that have been released in the past couple of years, they do a variety, like a ton of different things with each button. So many of Gwen's buttons are just, I will kill you. Q is, I'm going to kill you. Passive, I'm going to kill you. E, I will dash slightly and kill you. R is I'm going to kill you.
Snip.
Yeah. W, of course, gives her that defensive utility, that incredible power of nobody's allowed to hurt her outside of that.
Yeah.
But when this champion gets ahead, the amount of pain she brings to the table is pretty incredible. So I'm hoping we get at least one game with her as well.
I do too. I remember, being able to cast the game. This was, college level, so it wasn't really like the highest level of League of Legends. But there were a few standouts, and when we got to see that game, the idea of being able to play into it, like, try and throw in a bruiser like a Renekton versus it in the mid lane while having an Olaf as your jungle so you can try and secure the 2v2. Problem is, her early laning phase, her first 2 levels are just absurdly strong. Not just the fact that you could stack up Q procs off the minion wave, but then, of course, just I think it's a 40% attack speed steroid on your level 1 E.
It's a lot.
And you have Doran's Blade too, so you're just snipping people right out the get-go. So it's like that part of her kit is probably going to get toned down, but we won't get to see it unless if we see crucial mistake on the stage.
Exactly. Speaking of the stage, quick update. I believe the mouse issue mentioned earlier has been fixed. However, unfortunately, that is not the end of it. There is a client issue that is now being resolved. Hopefully, we can head into the game sooner than later. I don't have any more updates than that right now. So instead, we're just going to switch the conversation up a little bit. I'm going to ask, because we're talking about Gwen and saying, okay, we'd like to see a game with Gwen in it.
Yep.
Specifically, what else would you like to see, Raz, that we haven't got to see yet?
I think more mage supports, because we already did see that with Ezreal Karma. So I think we'll see a little bit more. I think it was doing incredibly well in lane, but it's one of those compositions that if you ever have a mage support, nothing really to kind of overcompensate in the jungle, that if you make one mistake, well, you don't have a playmaking tool to get back into the game. But if you're a strong team, if you get on the objective at the right time, if you're dragon stacking, all these things that come into play, like a Lulu is a great example. I think Lulu is absurdly strong. I know the desk was actually kind of just hit on it on an off note. But Lulu is such a great champion with a Kog'Maw. If you want to also pair it with like an Aphelios or something like that, it just works really well in a team fight setting, especially if you have confidence. Let's just say a top tier team. Let's throw in like Team Liquid, TSM. If they're confident that they can get onto an objective well enough, if they have like tempo on sides, then the enemy team walking into a Lulu squad is pretty damn hard. So that's a good example. I think we should see more enchanters, including Lulu.
And I want to bring this up because you say a top-tier team, and you mentioned TSM, and you mentioned Team Liquid.
Yep.
Let's throw back to your show at the beginning of the day on Lane by Lane, because when you asked who's going to win in summer, Freak's turning around and saying he believes in 100 Thieves.
He did.
Being able to be one of those top-tier teams. So now that we've talked a little bit about looking for mid-jungle synergy between Closer and Abadage, now that we've talked a little bit about Reaper coming in and what he brings to the table, is that enough for 100 Thieves to be a top-tier team? If not, what sort of developments do you want to see from them to be able to say, okay, you're onto something here, Freak?
I think it is. I think it is enough. My biggest concern with 100 Thieves when they, had one failing part on the map, if like Damonte had a bad game or if just someone on the map wasn't performing, they would kind of stick to the same play and then fail. The dominoes would just keep falling. They wouldn't cut their losses, and I think that was a concern from my end. But if you just simply have better players across the board, if Abadage is just playing well regardless, then the dives that they make, like that kind of the headstrong plays they go for anyways, they just work. I do hope, though, because once we get later on in the split, and the teams like Cloud9, Team Liquid, like they're not having the poor games that they're having right now, then it will be a problem that if they're behind in a game, that they kind of, or at least like if they make one misplay, that they tend to domino it. Like they run it down. That's the one thing I don't want to see, but I think they're aware of. And cross my finger.
And when I look at the other team on the stage here, when I'm looking at Immortals, the main two spots that I'm looking at, I know you said you wanted to see Xerxes make more plays and wanted to see Xerxes like really keep things going early on for this team. The two players that I'm looking at are the solo lanes, because I think both these guys have a lot of pop-off potential. I think both of them are still plenty young. They're hungry to prove themselves and show exactly what they got here. And we've seen some real bright moments in the past, even just in this past split, from both of these guys showing that they could carry a game if things are just a little bit different, just a little bit better, maybe had a little bit better footing to stand on there in the early game like you were already talking about. So I guess the point that I'm heading towards here is that if they can accomplish the goal that you've already set out for them, which is stabilize the early game a little bit better, I want to see that continue and follow through with some solo lane carries, and let's go, baby! That is some champion select music, and that means it is time for us to stop rambling and get into some picks and bans. 100 Thieves versus Immortals, 4th game of the day. First day in LCS Summer 2021 and the continuation of spring. Remember, all them records are sticking with us, and we're going to see who's the real deal. Let's get it on.
I think it's quite great for IMT, after the previous split, actually coming in 7-11. You have a long summer split, longer than the spring split, that you can rectify that with good play. So to your point that you're coming off with, I'm really impressed with Revenge when he has his champions and when the game is still in play, 20 minutes onwards. I think he's a great individual player. So let's see who gets the ball.
Okay, we've got Nocturne, Lee Sin, Varus, Renekton, Senna, and Gwen. Sorry, we ain't gonna get no
All
Gwen
right.
this game. All banned away. First pick of the draft. Oh my goodness, 100 Thieves must have watched the MSI finals. They know exactly what they picked 5 games in a row. It's the ooh dear.
Run and stun.
Job's done.
Great pick, especially if you want to solidify strong 2v2. And I'm expecting that he's going to try and work with Abidaga and someday a little bit more. I want to see what those picks are. Blue side, we'll see if he can get counter pick. But Rumble being picked up by IMT is a great team fighter, but needs good setup. I think we've seen a lot of Rumble games already where the Rumble ultimate's just flying a little bit too far out of reach. But having what I've seen from great Rumble teams is that if you just have a Nautilus or something that can set it up, it really does make the pick that much stronger.
And you got to have people who are able to follow up after he drops it, right? You can't just have Rumble dropping these things from 1,000 units away and nobody else is nearby. So now we've got the Tristana locked in next to it here with Immortals, and back on 100 Thieves, we will get to see another game of the Ezreal Karma lane there down in bottom side. Very difficult to make things happen on these two champions if you're up against it.
Yeah, I love it. And you're picking Nautilus reluctantly. I mean, when we saw TSM, they ended up winning that game, of course. But in the lane, it was really tough for Swordart and lost. Getting pelted consistently with the poke that Ezreal and Karma provided. So that's the idea that 100 Thieves have. If they have a better plan, then Karma is flexible and can go top lane. I don't quite like Karma, Udyr mid lane jungle, so I don't expect it to be mid.
Yeah.
But definitely expecting this one to be a Huhi Karma as we go into the 4-5s.
And we've got ourselves a not really much engage or any engage at all on the side of 100 Thieves here so far. That is always something that I'm critical of in general regular season LCS play. I'm not a huge fan of teams not drafting any engage. The execution barrier is very high at that point.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get to see a little bit of engage here for 100 Thieves in the second half of the draft. But right now, let's see how the bans are going. It's Syndra and Callista both banned away, as Orianna will be the final ban from the side of Immortals, double targeting that mid lane there. They're obviously also believing that the Karma's obviously going into the support role.
Yeah.
Now, what is our final ban of the draft here from 100 Thieves?
They're definitely expecting an Aurelia. Okay, they're trying to set up for a Gnar GP possibility in the top lane. And so I like the Callista ban, respecting the fact that the Tristana can be flexed towards the mid lane, especially with an AP jungler. I think the draft has been good from IMT side. They just need to round it out. Strong top side would be preferable, and that's going to be a blind pick Jace.
Okay, in a Jace, ready to go. What will the answer be from 100 Thieves? Oh, now if that gets locked in, there's your curveball. There's your Karma's actually going mid. And we'll have engage power through the support role from Leona instead.
Thinking about it.
8 seconds left. They're taking their time. Want to make sure they get the maximum amount of thought in on this one.
Lock it in.
It's locked in. So Karma mid, or could be Karma top.
I think it's
Could be
Karma top. Ooh!
Okay, Wukong.
Nice.
Let's do it.
So it's going to be a hectic top lane, and I want to see what IMT rounds their draft out here. With a mid lane option, just to see where the Tristana ends up going. I'm expecting it to be a Tristana bot lane. Mid lane here for Insanity. He has some time to think about it, but the draft from 100 Thieves is interesting. I think that, given engaged support to Huhi, he's the type of person, he will get the job done. I think he's been super instrumental in a lot of his engaged picks. That's going to be a set here, picked up for the top lane.
Okay, we've got Set picked up, so he'll want to be laning into that Wukong. And then we got Jace versus the Karma. Bottom lane, exactly as you're saying, you expect the Tristana to go down there with a Nautilus. So Tristana and Nautilus, very powerful all in. If Nautilus can land the dredge line, set Tristana up for the hook, it's pretty easy. The thing is, man, it's Ezreal and Karma. They are slippery.
Yeah, the Leona is going to be...
Ezreal and Leona.
It's always tough with these flexes. I'll say... Leona is going to be a target, most likely. If there's ever an engage, then it has to be Huhi's that's recognizing it. But taking a look at the draft as a whole, quite a lot of poke from the Karma. I wonder if that's going to be a support Karma build or an AP build, so they have more poke between her and the Ezreal. But that's a great flank engage that you have to be concerned about if you're IMT with the Wukong there. But Wukong and Set, I know Wukong and Jace was very chaotic. You're going to be expecting both junglers to be going topside. Wukong and Set is also equally so. My mind right now is going to be on Revenge.
Okay.
Expecting the jungle to be pathing topside and seeing if a good gank comes by. Especially even if it's out of laning phase. Set in team fights is just so damn instrumental. So I want to see what he's able to do in those fights.
Which draft do you favor here now that we've seen all 10 champions locked in? Who do you think's got the edge in this head-to-head?
I'll give it to 100 Thieves.
Okay.
I think Ezreal, Leona, mostly off the jungle pick on Udyr. I think Udyr could do a lot with that mid lane push and Karma.
Still got to fear the deer.
True.
All right, my friends. Let's do it. Let's see what we've got here. Everything looking pretty normal. We got Conqueror, Teleport on both of our top laners. Teleport and Airy for Abadage here in the mid lane with that Karma. Insanity running a Conqueror of his own. Bottom side, of course, Raze does need to take the cleanse when you're up against Udyr, when you're up against Leona. Two different point-and-click stuns can make it very, very difficult to navigate team fights without the ability to break that CC like that. Everything else seeming pretty par for the course here as everyone heads out onto the Rift. Line of scrimmage being drawn. If it's an invade this game, it will be a late one.
This one's a double TP on both sides as well, so it's going to be Insanity and Abadage going to be pretty keyed into side lanes. If any fight is to start out, they're going to be there for it.
Okay, Someday just chilling up here in the top side river. We can see 3 of the players on Immortals around this bottom side jungle here. So usually if you see that delayed 3-man invade, it's jungler with the bot lanes together. Looks like we have a pause, tragically. Hopefully this will be resolved here very soon.
Yeah, and kind of taking a look back at the IMT draft, I know I focused on the fact that Rumble with good setup, that's what you need.
Yep.
Set and Nautilus are fantastic setups. I think if you're able to get a good fight off of a Set flank or something to be able to get him into the full team fight, get a good stun off, Rumble carpet straight on top of him, it's a thumbs up from me. So I think if they can get themselves a good team fight, it works well there for them.
And I just want this game to live up to the excitement that we've had in the 3 games here so far.
Yeah.
Game number 1 of the day, we had TSM and TL. That was a pretty close one. Yes, TSM was in control most of the time, but there was definitely a fight in TL the whole time, like as TSM had to really work for that win there towards the end. You get to the second game of the day, and it is bloody, 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 bloody. Third game of the day, you get quite an upset, by the way. Like, holy cow. So all I want, Raz, is now that we're here casting the games, I want to continue with this madness. I want to start summer off the right way. Don't give me none of that resident sleeper. Don't give me no first blood at 15 minutes into the game. I want to see some wild League of Legends.
Yeah, take your chances, playmaking. Even in the Team Liquid TSM game, Team Liquid had chances there. Bot lane team fight that got them just a wipe. So if you have enough playmaking, anything can happen.
Okay.
Just the defense on this one. Rumble, of course, really early on, weak to invade. So nice to see Insanity just taking a check if there is a late invade coming through.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we saw at MSI, right? One of the ways the teams started to punish the power of Rumble and how his clear works. Rumble does have to take the W at level 1. When he does that, well, you can invade him pretty easily, and what's he going to do? Turn on his shield and run away? That's just about it. So no invade this time around. Immortals are able to get their jungler off to a solid start. We'll keep an eye on how things go in this bottom lane because, again, we want to compare this to the Ezreal in the previous games that we've seen and how well he can do in this lane and how accurate that poke can land.
Yeah, in the previous one, he did have a lot of help with the Karma, double range, double poke. In this game, he's going to get path to from the Udyr. So Udyr is going to be farming straight towards the bot side, ideally trying to get Scuttle. Take a look at this nice scrap here.
Yeah, nice little bit of 2v2 damage there in the favor of Immortals as who he loses about half HP. But considering that it's 100 Thieves hitting level 2 first, they'll be able to maintain priority over that lane and get the wave shoved in so it can reset. Up in top lane, Friends will just smack Someday around here a little bit. Set is one of those champions that is very, very difficult to just stand there and fight in melee range.
Yeah.
So it's up to Someday to just hang back a little bit, lose some farm early on, try to punish later.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be put in a pretty tough position. Getting Set counterpicked into him, and then also having the jungle move away. So if he ever has a bad trade, just going to happen, Xerxes is going to be there. So he's just taking it passively, getting the wave underneath the turret. The big scary part is, of course, what's going to be happening in the mid lane matchup. If Insanity's ever to find a good angle there, if he gets a good trade, as we saw quite earlier on, then a 3-man dive, no matter your HP, you're not going to be able to fight that.
Yeah, very, very difficult stuff. Revenge keeping control up here in this top side, but the farm is dead even between them, so it's not like Sunday's actually being forced off the wave anytime soon. Xerxes is up here. Now, fortunately, Xerxes is also playing Rumble in the jungle instead of that super mega anime scream the name of your spell every time you do something skin, so it's a little bit more calm every time we mouse the camera over him. But down back in the bottom lane, we have the Scuttle Crab secured, so those have been traded back and forth, and Xerxes is still invested in this top side here.
Oh, he's looking for a flash stun here from Revenge if he can set up this play here. Getting close to it.
Revenge just doesn't even need to flash. We already got the stun. Xerxes here, and he's ready to go. The Flame Spitter keeps on ticking. Flash with the Haymaker. First blood for Immortal.
Yeah, they used double flash for it, but it worked out. I think Xerxes was managing his rage bar very well there. Overheated, got the extra bit of damage, and a nice trade in the bot lane.
A lot of damage coming out there. Ray's losing a ton of HP, but FBI the same. The bomb's about to explode on his head. He nearly dies. Heal comes out and barely keeps FBI alive, but back up here on the top side, Revenge singing the same song. Closer wanted to help, but they could not secure the kill. Revenge barely getting away. Back here in the mid lane now, it's another trade in a 1v1. Abadage grabbing a bit more damage as Insanity falls back.
What a scrappy game 4 minutes in. And I liked what was happening there with Closer. Comes up for a gank and forces Revenge farther back, so he's going to miss a little bit more of the minion wave, TPing back into the lane. But great start from IMT. I was going to talk about how it was nice for Xerxes pathing away from the Udyr matchup so he can just farm out freely and not have to deal with it. And then finding the angle top lane. Seems like IMT has leveled up a little bit in the break.
That's what you like to see, my friend. Immediate back there from Xerxes, now grabbing the Sorcerer's Shoes, ready to go with the extra magic penetration. And talking about Xerxes, let's see how he made it happen here in top.
There we go. Not only was he that close to being able to get overload, but also had red buff to boot. Flash coming in from Revenge as he was channeling up his W. Just interested in this part. I think, yeah, Revenge just needed to base off this one with his jungler. Didn't expect the gank to come through. Was able to survive it, even with the flash down. So it's not too damaging, but lost a bit of the minion wave as Udyr was chasing him to his second turret, so that happened.
Very good placement on the face breaker there. If he didn't stun both of them, he was dead on that and really ends up being able to punish Closer's flash there, just getting back, getting that flash, not being punished super heavy for it, and Revenge is right back up in top side, keeping that wave shoved in. No focus onto the dragon here yet. I had a bit of an error on my screen, but now we're right back into the game. Here we go. Insanity trying to stay alive, but it's a 3-man play here in the mid lane. They grab the kill. Closer taking the credit as, oh my goodness, that's not what you wanted to see, but there's the follow-up. Destiny starts it off, and the rest of the team is ready to go. Now they'll continue the chase onto Abadage. Revenge grabbing the kill there, and they end up getting the 2-for-1. Down here in the bottom side, the violence continues as Raze guarantees that he shoves in the wave.
That was an optimistic gank from 100 Thieves on towards Insanity, and his dying breath gets a lot of damage down to help support the Xerxes and Destiny coming through. So overall, love this from IMT, able to just block the plays coming through. Taking a second look at this one, yeah, basically a tower dive. Damage going down on towards Huhi, so when inevitably Destiny does come, a little bit of spaghetti over here. Great tethering in with the Rumble ultimate. The auto from Nautilus able to keep him in the carpet a little bit longer and also get the kill on Abadage.
Good stuff from Immortals, man. Hey, you said you wanted to see a team that did well in the first 10 minutes. A team that was able to make some plays and set things up, and that is exactly what we're getting here so far. Huhi's about to just explode, and the money goes over to Raze.
Well, just a great timing here. Also had the control ward to just mask it, so not only are they going to be able to get that kill, Dragon immediately afterwards. This is looking like a refined IMT. You have to watch out, FBI, because we all know that the jungler is in this area, so he's just going to keep it a little bit further back from the turret.
Destiny with that Hex Flash, just in case they wanted to get a little bit saucier, but nope, instead they will fall back over to the Drake. Yes, Xerxes can solo this one down very easily, but bringing over Destiny just guarantees that it's 100% safe. First Drake of the game secured at 8 minutes. Not exceptionally quick, but not terribly slow either.
And just as a confirmation, was wondering about the Karma build. It's going to be a Bandle Glass, so regardless, it's going to be a supportive build from the Karma.
Right.
So the DPS from 100 Thieves side will drop off as the game goes on. IMT should be pretty comfortable in terms of how they're scaling with Rumble, Tristana, and the threat from the Jace. So just a kind of a concern from me with 100 Thieves have been playing out this early game.
And that means that we need a lot from Someday and FBI on the side of 100 Thieves, because you're the damage threats now, right? Support Karma in mid lane's not going to be doing it. Full tank Udyr, yeah, he can run and stun, but then the job is truly and completely done, because he's not killing anybody after that too well. So I really, really want to see some big plays and big flanks out of Wukong if 100 Thieves wants to come back into this game, because I am impressed with the first 9 minutes of Immortals gameplay here.
It's nice. They're playing around Xerxes wonderfully on his pathing. I mean, he was pathing towards the top side. It was actually Someday that wasn't respecting that timer. Packing towards the bot side, same with FBI and Huhi, and it looks like it's going to be an opportunity to get the kill on Revenge.
All right, there we go. Now Revenge wants to use that ulti to get himself out, and he does it. Closer still gets the stun, but it don't matter. Revenge gets away.
Feels bad. Every time it seems like an attempt from a gank is happening from Closer, it's immediately blocked away, and he has to escape with how IMT is now pathing and clearing vision topside, so they're just covering their corners here.
And honestly, it's so tricky to try to make those pincer ganks going around the tri-bush from behind on set if he has his ultimate up, because you're guaranteed that he's going to use his ulti to escape, and that means that the laner that you're trying to gank for is now 600 units away and has to find a way to catch up. He already used his dash. He already used the Nimbus Strike. It's not coming in anymore. He needs the cooldown, and now Immortals are sending players up to the topside river. They are looking for this first Rift Herald for themselves. 10 minutes into the game. Looks like they'll grab it. Someday wants to go in and fight for it. Revenge at about half HP, stuns the man into his own clone, beats him right back down into the riverbed.
Overall greedy. They were trying to buy time for Huhi to get there on time, but just a great recognition from IMT. Hey, you know, Revenge is there. Destiny's been there for some time. It's 100 Thieves that just had to give it.
That's not what you want. Somewhere out there, Azael is flustered. He's talked about it so many times about teams just giving up a Rift Herald, farm up instead, get whatever you can. But instead, it's just Someday giving away a free kill on top of the Rift Herald secured. And they've got this for the entire duration of the plates, so they should be guaranteed another minimum 320 gold.
It's just when teams are just tunneling a little bit too much, because, you know, they did set up a little bit towards the top side. Huhi was there for a little bit. They're the ones that started Rift Herald, so they didn't even think about the opportunity of going to the opposite side of the map. So, caught with their pants down. Destiny also just hunting for a play on FBI. Overall, just taking a look at the vision on the bot side of the map, it's just been exceptional from IMT. It's 100 Thieves that need to be the one that make the play, and so a lot of onus right now is on Huhi.
Okay.
Close.
Destiny wants to go in there with a dredge line, but not a whole lot going to be happening here yet. Now,
No
TP.
way.
I think they're ready to go for it. Lay out the red carpet. The guests of honor have arrived. Here comes the set over the top. Goodbye, FBI. Meet the 100 Thieves demise, baby. The shutdown comes out. The set will die, but it's still going to be a 2-for-1. And Immortals just keep lining them up to knock them down.
What team are we watching? Spring Split, I would expect this is what 100 Thieves are doing to teams really early on, especially in the lock-in tournament. It's IMT cleaning 100 Thieves clocks out.
This is great stuff from Immortals. This is exactly what you wanted to see from this roster, talking about going into summer, learning with the time that you had off, using those opportunities to really get these guys meshing well together.
Yeah.
And damn if they aren't doing it in these first 12 minutes, Raz. I'm going to ask the question, but I already know the answer.
What a day.
Has this met your expectations for the first 10 minutes?
Hell yes.
That's what I want to hear.
This entire damn day has set my expectations for the Summer Split. Just clean. TP coming through on the ward. They're confident that they can chase him down. Revenge must be calling for it, knowing that he can call the distance.
And boom! FBI just explodes. Revenge is there. Yeah, he gets the Haymaker shield. Problem is that tower's not just warmed up. That thing's hot.
Yeah.
And that means that even the boss has to go down eventually. But man, the plays that Revenge is making.
Oh my God.
Revenge is not only doing a great job avoiding deaths from closers' ganks by good use of the face breaker and the ulti, but he's also rotating around, helping the fights down at the Rift Herald, helping these plays in the bottom lane. I'm loving what we're seeing from this guy in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's set up to succeed. Not only were they pathing towards him initially, he has a good matchup for himself, and so every time he's getting the push off, he's walking towards that side of the map. I also think they're really in tune with TP advantage when they have that, when they're dealing against that, and so they're playing safely around that. So overall, fantastic from IMT. Now we're going to be looking to see if they can remain, keep the lead that they do have.
Yeah.
But I'm liking it because so far, they've done a great job sitting in their own vision. When they were in that bot side jungle, just chilling out, waiting for the wave to get cleared out, and also for the dragon to come up, I thought they were playing a very respectful game. So this is a completely different IMT than we saw in Spring.
And 100% kill participation on Xerxes so far.
Feels
I
good.
really like the fact that this is the guy that you were looking at to say, here's how you win the early game. Here's how you stabilize. Here's how you have a strong foundation to build that house that we want to see this team be able to build. And there it is, man. The Rumble doing so much work here for this team. So now I have to pose the question to you, Raz.
Hit me.
No, wait, hold on. Give me a second.
Someone's about to hit someday.
This might turn into a real bad time for
it's
Mr.
aware.
Someday. We got a lot of bodies in that top side 100 Thieves jungle. Okay,
Hands
that's
up.
Scryer's plant doing a lot of work there as who he's going to see these guys waiting to set the trap. The collapse is coming. I don't know if they still win this, though. Dredgeline goes out. Raze goes in. Won't find a whole lot off of it. FBI tries to trade with him there, but Raze doing a good job sidestepping most of the skill shots here for now. So 100 Thieves is hemorrhaging this early game. They are already down 3,000 gold. It's about to be even more. That's the second turret of the game going over to Immortals. What is the game plan for this 100 Thieves roster to stop this, to somehow put a bandage over this?
Yeah, going back to the comp, a lot of the times playmaking is the answer, but they do have that in Leona and in the Wukong. You just need the damage to follow up, which goes back to the draft. I think they're, regardless of the result happening in this game, they're going to go back and reevaluate the fact that they have support karma with an Udyr. I didn't like it coming into the game, but I'm always interested, especially with a new patch. And if they're playing heavily towards bot lane, if bot lane can get a heavy advantage early, that just hasn't happened. And so IMT definitely are going to feel ultra confident overloading this side of the map if they want to. When they were sitting in the top side blue buff pit, and they were just caught, they're like, okay, what are you going to do about it? It's like, you're going to walk into us? We can take this fight. Destiny was willing to take the hook. So it's the same thing in this positioning. They just need to get a ward in this line bush here that Revenge is sitting in. Clear that one out.
Okay, here comes your Shirelia's activation. Very powerful engage tool there, but it just can't do it. You're trying to engage on champions that can get away, and it does not work. 100 Thieves, yes, they're starting to get these items online. We've got 2 different Divine Sunderers, as well as that Shirelia is there for Abadage that you just saw the attempted use of, but they still couldn't get the engage on Immortals just yet.
And if you're going to look for an engage on a champion, I think Rumble, Jace, Tristana, checkmark, great. You can probably get enough damage to get a kill on them. Set, different conversation.
No, not set.
You're probably setting up for a good team fight.
Set.
You don't want to touch that champion.
No, sir.
So, they were thinking about it, realized that it would take too much time, and walked away from it.
And we are also seeing some more aggro itemization here from Set, and I like this because there's been so many Reddit clips and so much discussion lately about mathematically correct Set, which is the Set that gets maximum value out of his Haymakers by only building health and cooldown reduction, so that the Haymakers just come out, he takes 1 billion damage, but he doesn't die, and then he punches you for 2,000 true damage. So considering we're going for Stridebreaker and now into what I'm assuming is going to be a Stair Axe, this dude could just mollywop an entire team. If they line up into a Haymaker, it could be some scary stuff. You can see Insanity making his way down here into the bottom lane. He will stop Someday from securing the first turret of the game here for his team. We've already got another Rift Herald earned by the side of Immortals. There is nothing in this game, Raz, it's not going their way.
It's time to look into the future. If I open my goggles, because a minute, Dragon's coming up. Rift Herald's already there for IMT. They're a stronger team fighting team. Set will be there for the fight. And so it's going to have to be 100 Thieves that make the hard decision of whether they're going to fight against or climb Mount Everest basically in that team fight.
Tough call.
For Soul Point, or if you just trade sides. I'm definitely in the court of trading sides a little bit here and trying to play for top lane turret and just let them have it.
Well, they're about to let him have it here in the mid lane. Immortals summoning up the Rift Herald. They know that 100 Thieves wants to defend this tier 1 turret, but there's just no way to do it. Shelly's charge alone will take that one out, and that means more money in the Immortals' pocket.
And the vision is so good from IMT. If you're looking towards the dragon, it's coming up in 15 seconds. They can walk into the line bush and force 100 Thieves to just try and walk into them. It's going to be a difficult task.
Immortals still grouped up as 5, doing a great job making sure no man's left behind, nobody's a straggler that'll allow for a pick.
All right, I know they're all grouped up, but I do need, close.
That was almost the go button right there. Someday has the flash. He can go over the wall if he wants and try to engage with the Wukong ulti. Approaching from the side, but a good use of that far sight trinket to guarantee that they will be aware of his presence.
Yeah, IMT needs to play this one slow and let Revenge get a good position on the flank, because I think he definitely would thrive in that spot where 100 Thieves have to back away. So let's see what we get here. He's going to be with the team, and now 100 Thieves are just trying to figure out if they can steal it or what.
Yeah, 100 Thieves backing away. The Dragon's going to be burned down. Already secured by the side of Immortals. 100 Thieves can't find their way into the fight just yet. The dredge line making its way on the enemy top lane of the Cyclones coming out. The Immortals are trying to fight back. Revenge grabbing the kill on Someday. It's a trade for Destiny as Closer picks up the kill there. 100 Thieves, they won't find anything but a 1-for-1. They lose their top laner for the enemy support.
It could have looked really good for 100 Thieves, but it was IMT that was aware of the flank, and it was Destiny and Revenge that was marking that. So when Someday reared his head, it turned into a one-for-one where it could have very easily been a great engage for Someday. Take a second look at this, because if he was not detected, obviously he was, would have gotten a lot of good DPS off with Revenge as low as he was. But, you know, just turns into a 1-for-1. IMT being the smarter team of the two, knew they already got the bag in the Dragon. Back away, that Soul point, and now they're looking for Soul in 4 minutes.
That Soul could be very scary stuff. Damage dealt in the last team fight. Karma did 60. I mean, it's mid lane support Karma. You would you hate to see it, but it is what it is. Over on the other side, a lot of damage coming out from Insanity and Xerxes here with the Jace and Rumble combination. Jace having that Eclipse, and here's the other important thing for Xerxes. Look at the stopwatch in the inventory. Means he can go in there, try to get maximum Flame Spitter damage, and then immediately drop aggro. Lots of playmaking potential on that.
Oh man, it's going to be hard to penetrate what is a colossal vision advantage for IMT. And going back to the draft a little bit, I know we both expected that to be an Ezreal Karma bot lane.
Yeah.
And I know they ended up swapping it. Even if they had this iteration where Karma is mid lane, I was saying that maybe an AP Karma to amplify the poke with Ezreal, because as you start to see support items start stacking here for Abadage, you know, you really don't have the support itemization to help your team out.
Yeah.
Especially if you're poke Ezreal, I can see that they're calling for this.
Okay, they're daring their opponents to come after him. Stridebreaker from Revenge, flashing behind him to make the play with a showstopper. Closer gets away, Dredge Line won't find a target. Immortals makes a move on the enemy jungler, they scare him away. And with Closer at 20% HP, they're right back onto the Baron.
They know they did enough damage. Would have loved the kill, but that's gonna be a Baron unless 100 Thieves just focus on the fight.
Revenge is down to about 1/3 HP. Destiny, he dredge lines into the wall and he dies for free. Not what Immortals wanted to see, but a huge stop for 100 Thieves.
Oh, a breath of a miracle for 100 Thieves that Destiny misplayed that. You're gonna have to expect a few members to stay just in case 100 Thieves start doing the objective. I'm expecting, you know, Insanity with the poke that he has. So it just basically turns into nothing, which is great for 100 Thieves. They can reset the vision, they can come back onto the map, and it buys them some time. But yeah, crucial misplay there from Destiny on IMT side.
Okay, so there's a little bit of breathing room
Yep.
for 100 Thieves. And honestly, Raz, the gold's only 1,500 apart right about now. It's not like we're talking about this mountain of economic difference here between the teams, but a big part of focus will be that Dragon Soul. Here in 2 minutes, 100 Thieves makes the call. Do you fight for that one or not? Do you try to make some sort of a play? Remember, if you get the individual win, you get 1 Dragon point.
Yep.
Those are not worth a whole lot. You give away the Soul, it puts Elder on the board, game state changes a little bit. Got ourselves a 1v1 between the top laners. Backup showing up from both sides. Revenge gonna be your target, but now let's see if they're able to switch the aggro over onto Insanity. Revenge Hysteric's gonna pop, he uses the showstopper, getting away with a haymaker, face breaker, let's go! Closer's your next target, and 100 Thieves will fall to pieces in front of Immortals. A little bit more damage finds its way onto Xerxes, but he will not die just yet. He has to fall back.
Oh!
Destiny will finally be brought down by a nice Mystic shot in the back end of the fight. FBI is looking for a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it is a 3 for 2 in favor of Immortals.
It's getting real close, and a dragon coming up in a minute. This is 100 Thieves being scrappy, trying to find these plays. Someday was looking for a scrap onwards revenge. Both TPs come through. Man, that was pretty insane. But I'm looking at Raze. I thought he had great positioning in the team fight. As you can see, TPs coming through on both sides to commit to this play. I feel bad for Revenge a little bit because it was going. The fight was going on and off, so he was actually resetting on that charge on his W as well up there. But he ends up just blowing up the Karma. And so 3 members dying on the side, but look at FBI. So clutch in this moment to get that kill on towards Destiny there. But we're back to another fight.
Oh man, it does not stop. A lot of damage finds its way to Huhi. He's down to 100 HP, but he will survive. A little bit of extra shielding there on the back end to guarantee that he gets away. Now Revenge is also very hurt, but remember that Revenge has the ability to teleport back. That will give Immortals the man advantage here as this 4th Drake of the game spawns. Immortals currently on Soul Point. If they get this, it's the Cloud Soul. Raze just lost a third of his HP to a single Mystic shot. FBI and the rest 100 Thieves somehow looking to fight here. Dredgeline finding Someday. A little bit more damage onto him as Closer jukes off to the side, trying to maintain a little bit of aggro, trying to keep these guys distracted. Someday at half HP. Cyclone still ready to go. Dragon still aggroed by the side of Immortals.
Rumble ult back up now.
That one going. Xerxes just about having the Rumble ulti ready to go here. Dragon's down to 2,000 HP. Equalizer finds its way there. Cloud Soul over to IMT. And the fight's about to do the same. He's already down and Abadage will follow. Both enemy supports are gone. More damage is coming out and Raze is taking out Someday. Everybody except FBI is going down and they will not be opening up today. Triple kill to the AD carry and an ace for Immortals.
What a clear sweep. With how long that fight was going on, I was concerned. Cersei, no Rumble ultimate, but they wait long enough for that cooldown to come back up. Great TP there from Revenge to be there with the team fight. Huge come up now. That's Dragon Soul. That's Baron and IMT in the driver's seat to a victory.
Dragon Soul, Baron, and a gold lead that now is a mountain of economic difference between these two squads. With the 300 gold per person from Baron, that will jump this up to over 7K for Immortals just 25 minutes into this game.
This has just been a huge performance out of Revenge, Xerxes. You can mention everyone on the team, but just as a highlight into those 2 individuals and then how their team fights have been going. I think I've heard that they've been scrimming for a long time, but just to check out this Bud Light Ace, the vision that they've had to secure this area, the patience waiting for the Rumble ultimate, and just take a look as Revenge sets up this fight incredibly well. It's Huhi that's isolated, and they're able to get down Abadage as well. So just a difficult fight for 100 Thieves to take. FBI trying to make the best of it, just get squashed.
Yeah, he tried to go in. There were a couple players at low HP. Maybe if he pulls off a miracle and kills all 3 of them, they can't get Baron.
Yeah.
But there's no miracles here today. Not for 100 Thieves, not yet. 7,500 gold lead is exactly what Immortals have, and they're looking to take it even further. Both tier 2 turrets here in top and mid are under pressure. Most of that pressure focused around the top lane here as Raze is just a demolition machine on the Tristana.
Something to take note of as we are on the Baron push from IMT is that they purchased 2 crucial stopwatches in their engages. That's going to be Revenge and Destiny that wants to be the ones that start the fight, and they have a way out.
Okay, they're pushing onto the top lane, tier 3 already. Someday has to use the clone just to get away. 100 Thieves tries to collapse on Revenge back in the mid lane, but considering he gets out with his flash, that means there's nothing to be found except a dead inhibitor there in the top lane. Well done from Revenge, well coordinated by the team as a whole, and now they can just rotate it back over to mid and continue moving as a unit.
Yeah, they're playing off 2 waves here. I want to see if they want to aim for this inhibitor. This is going to be the last straw here for 100 Thieves if they can fight for this one.
Okay, FBI will continue just holding these guys at bay however he can.
Wow.
Nice equalizer just scares them away. They know they can't fight if the AD carry's got 25% HP. Immortals is a bulldozer right now, and they are just smashing the enemy base. 100 Thieves seem completely unable to respond at any point this game. Immortals continuing the push now to the Nexus turrets. Raze has the bomb strapped to the first one, finds a lot of damage on that one as it detonates. Next minion wave already flowing in from top lane. Baron buff still active for another 45 seconds. Immortals continuing the push. 100 Thieves continuing to lose health on every single player. Someday tries to find some sort of an opportunity walking forward, but none will present itself.
It's going to have to be 100 Thieves drawing the line in the sand somewhere, but Abadaga gets hit with a big one.
There's no line in the sand to be drawn, but they're going in right now, looking to fight for their lives as the True Shot Barrage comes in. 100 Thieves' last-ditch defense will not find any success. Raze almost finds himself a reset. Double kill for Raze, triple kill for Raze. Quadra kill is it not quite yet, but it's enough. Ladies and gentlemen, this Immortals squad came to play in summer, and they'll take down 100 Thieves.
We may be working with the same standings from Spring Split, but this is an entirely different team.
That was not the same Immortals that was playing in spring, man. Holy cow.
They were definitely the welcome party that Abadage was not looking for.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a rude invitation there. Holy moly. And I feel like they met exactly what you wanted to see from them and what I wanted to see from them, because they had a solid early game. They had lots of playmaking centered around Xerxes, and Revenge in particular did a great job of giving them any chance to come back into the game on 100 Thieves' side, as well as helping his team and supporting playmaking across the map.
Yes, and I think for me the key word here was discipline. That in the early portions of the game, when it's not your turn, when it's not your play back, respect Closer's timing. Closer had 3 ganks that just fizzled. They didn't really turn into anything. And it was mostly off of IMT recognizing it and playing safe accordingly to that. And then as the team fights they were setting up for them, solid vision in the red side jungle. I think this has a very clear indicator of a well-coached team.
And I don't think we really saw any moment where it's like, oh God, are they going to throw right here? What is that?
Yeah.
Immortals did a great job sticking together. It's that discipline you're talking about still. Making sure that you're moving everyone together. The time where even when we see them split up with the Baron push, when Revenge is in the mid lane, he knows how far he's pushed up and then flashes away when they try to collapse on him. It ends up giving away the first inhib, and then the team knows their damage thresholds together to push down mid, use that equalizer, scare the AD carry off. Man, once you've lost 2 inhibitors, the game is so hard.
It is. And for me, you can keep the standings, but at the beginning of the split, it still feels like a clean slate.
It does.
It still feels like, you know, anything goes. That like all the practice that you've had up until this point, because you've seen all the footage, it's not pretty of the spring split. And you know what you just need to work on. You just need to get it done. So I'm interested in a lot of teams. I know we're going to be seeing FlyQuest and CLG later today in our next game, but seeing now Immortals play at this level, I think it's a beautiful thing for the LCS.
Yeah, and it's just so much fun because it's a lack of inertia, I think, is the difference between comparing standings and comparing like summer feeling new.
Yeah.
You don't have that inertia of being like, okay, we're one of the bottom half teams. It's like these games have been rough. Oh no. The slate is clean, my friend.
Yep.
And Immortals just signed their name on one hell of a win that was awesome to see. We're heading to a break right now, but after that, we'll be breaking down that all-important Immortals victory with the State Farm Analyst Desk. Don't y'all go anywhere.
Welcome back to the LCS. If you have been tuning in and are here for the ride, you know it has been quite a doozy thus far. And lucky for you, we do have some crumbs action coming to us on the desk. Hello, my friend. Welcome.
It's good to be here, standing next
Right?
to all of you. Look at this.
Yeah.
We can do this. We can actually.
Whoa, they
person.
touched.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My mind is blown. But you know what else is kind of blown? The predictions of a lot of people after what we have seen so far today.
Yeah. So I had some prep. You know, I had my predictions written here, and it says, "Oh, I'm wrong on everything. What's going on today?"
0-4, feeling great. I love it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the studio. We're excited about this. It's the teams that made most of the roster swaps that have been losing. Golden Guardians made the clear upgrade. Everybody else was kind of shaky. Is this really going to be an upgrade? Is it a side grade? They lost. All three lost. 100 Thieves, C9, and EG.
Well, let's talk about that latest, I guess, loss if you're looking from the perspective of 100 Thieves, but a resound victory if you are on the side of Immortals. That being said, though, I think it is fair to say that there were maybe some things that surprised us when it came to the draft, considering we did have some of the newer players coming through.
Yeah, so today we've seen a ton of Ezreal Karma. This is the third time we saw it, but I had a big problem with this, which is why is Abedage on Karma? You brought this guy who's been playing carries his whole career over in Europe, and now he's on Karma duty? He had a fight where he did 60 damage. I don't understand this. You're not putting him on his comfort, on his strength. You could have kept other mid laners if what you wanted is somebody to play Karma.
Yeah, and to your point, it's not that Karma Ezreal is bad. You know, it has its place. Ezreal's really good with Divine Sunder. You can run Karma Ezreal bot and really dominate, but maybe not on your new all-star mid laner who's coming in, supposed to put a lot of pressure in the mid lane and carry. So I don't know about this one.
On the flip side, for me, I am loving Immortals draft. Like the double flex pick kind of in the top and mid lane, as well as the fact that they're doing it on red side. Actually using red side in its advantage to get counter pick was huge. I love to see it. It's also playing to Insanity's strengths. He's a very flexible player. He's always had a giant champion pool, and being able to put the Jace mid frees up the counter pick for Revenge in the top lane for the set, which has a nice little interaction with the Wukong when he goes into his little clone. If he hops back or forward, you can actually clap him against his own clone for the stun. So it's actually a pretty sick combo that they're able to pull off this game.
And having that alongside a lot of the engage opportunities with this draft, I mean, if we're looking at some standout players, it has to be noted that from the jungle position, Xerxes just had a huge hold on the game and on a pick that, of course, we expect to see on the Rumble, but you always want to make sure that it is executed effectively.
Yeah, and you know, this is pretty much a clinic in how to play around your jungle, right? We just saw the stats for Xerxes. Wasn't looking too good before that. Pretty sure his stats just got bumped up a bit after this performance. Every time he would go to a lane, he would get support from the bottom lane. His mid laner would follow up immediately. And this is what we wanted to see from Immortals when we knew that Xerxes was being added to the roster. He's supposed to be a veteran player who adds a lot of creativity, and it's really nice to see Immortals follow his leadership.
Yeah, I mean, it was the big pickup for this roster in spring, and it was definitely a little bit disappointing, but there were times in Europe where you could argue he was the best jungler in the entire region, and so it was nice to see a bit of a return to form for him here on the Rumble, and he can find these champions that he starts to excel on, and once he has one of those, it feels like it's a launching point for him a lot of the time, and so I'm excited to see what he can do with this kind of Rumble meta that has started to develop.
I just like that the teams felt like they listened to Freak and wanted to challenge him and prove that Rumble Jungle is actually a good pick. Not only are their equalizers better, their heat management is improving, but the Nautilus is getting combined with it a bunch. The set as well is just such a good pick to actually layer on top of him. We even saw Revenge take a hint on that and use his ultimate and actually suplex people onto the equalizer. You love to see it.
If your Rumble misses, let me help. Put him on top.
It's foolproof. So, Crumbs, I'm interested to get your perspective. We've seen a lot of upsets today. Do you think this is just first week jitters? Do you think rosters are gelling? Do you think Immortals is now the best team in the league? What's going on?
No, Immortals is not the best team in the league, but
Okay.
I do think that it is first week jitters because the teams are just not used to the meta. A lot of them have not been scrimming against each other, so it's going to be that they have played a specific style and maybe it got them wins in their own scrims, but when it comes to playing against their competition, well, it just so happens that you throw your best bet out there. You don't know if it's going to win already, and sometimes you're wrong on that coin flip, so the teams will adapt as we progress into the tournament.
Cool.
Primal trying to bait Crumbs into some super hot takes here on day one.
It
after
didn't
the
work.
single
It
victory.
didn't work. No.
But I think it was also a good point you brought that Xerxes was one of the pickups earlier on in spring. That was also one of the later arrivals for him too. So great to see on the side of Immortals really getting their footing with this roster continually throughout the year. As far as the analyst desk, we are going to be stepping away, but don't go anywhere because after the break, we've got one final face-off for the day between FlyQuest and CLG. We'll see you there.
My predictions.
My predictions.
I didn't order a pizza.
I know. But that Parker promo saved me so much in my insurance. I brought you a little something special.
Parker, State Farm offers everyone surprisingly great rates.
You're the man, man.
You want the real deal? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.